This is Sanja.
Yo, check it out. It's my girl Sanja.
Oh, yeah.
Yo, what up, Sanja?
How are you? How you doing? Oh, my gosh. Guys, I have had a fantabulous, very interesting past 2 weeks. It really has been an adventure, honestly. A lot has happened, and I definitely want to talk to you, my little diary bunch. You guys listen to all of my crap and all the stuff going on in my life. Appreciate it. My mind is blown, okay? Have you ever had those experiences where just things that come together are just, they seem so far apart and so unrelated that when they do come together, that it's just like, oh my God, you know? The coincidences. I know that a lot of people get weirded out by like some coincidences. They're like, oh, who's watching me? I was just talking about Levi's jeans and now Levi's jeans is on my computer. And they get weirded out by that. And I always laugh because, you know, yes, there's the advertisement and yes, the man is watching you to make some of those coincidences happen. But we live in this field of potentiality where it's a bunch of proteins and energy and electrons and things, and coincidences should be happening for you, especially when you are like an energetic and you're like, ooh, I'm about the energy. I'm all about good vibes. Yeah. So if you're all about good vibes, then you should be experiencing some coincidences in your life, right? I do a lot, so much so I really did when I was a kid. I really thought I was a witch. And now that I'm an adult and I realize that people are not having the same experiences as me, when I was younger, it used to make me think that I was weird, and I literally would fight against myself. Do not come near me. I don't want to see shit. I don't want to hear shit. Leave me the fuck alone. I just want to be normal. Everybody thinks I'm weird. And now I'm like, I want to see everything. I want to hear it. Not what. Wait. Actually, let me be very clear. I do not want to see everything. I do not want to see everything. We are on a lovely pace right now of you letting my vision come. So let's just continue at the pace that we are at. Let me just be very frankly clear. I am enjoying the pace that we are currently letting Sanja see things at. Okay. All right. Anyway, but I do want to express and use and harness my gifts. And I'm not afraid. And I don't care if you call me weird. For those church people who say weird things, you know, I'll pull out the scriptures on them. You know what I'm saying? Honey, I'll pull out the scriptures on them. You know what I'm saying? Okay. That needed a replay, so I had to say it again. But now, my life keeps taking me into these directions that okay, so maybe I'll stop. Maybe the things that I've gone through, and maybe the things in my life have happened for a reason of me having this microphone that's in my face and liking to share in this medium. The past, I would say 13, 14 years have been so hard and fun and wonderful and hard as fuck for me. Oh my God. Did you hear the choke up that just happened? I always thought that I had did something wrong, you know, and I really didn't do anything wrong. I literally had a vision before all of this stuff happened, and I deciphered it, and I just really thought it was, I'm going to be meeting my inner self. You know, I'm going to be, you know, combining my spiritual self and my physical self. Like, I knew it was going to be, you know, along those lines, and writing my destiny, and like, I knew that, you know, but I didn't know how deep that shit went. And I am just like, wow, because the way that everything has connected, and it took a while for me to be able to see it, you know, but I literally, at this point where I stand right now, I could say, oh my God, okay, so this happened, so this could happen. And then that happened, so this could happen. And then that led me to that. And then because of that person acting like that, that made me want that. And then this made me have that. And then that made me want to do this. And then being here made me want that. And then I thought I was done with entertainment, but then this happened, and now I realize I want to go back. And now I realize that this is what I got to do. It was. I mean, I would almost call it a wild goose chase, but it wasn't. It was, I guess, something that I led myself on, and I'm not done in any means, but I do have a different level of understanding, and I really just want to pass that understanding on. And the reason that I'm choking up right now is because it's dawning on me. I thought that what I do wasn't exactly that important, because I used to be on this, 400, 500,000 people scale that, knowing that there's, thousands of people listening to me at the same time. And rebuilding can be really tough, But the other day I had this guy who was in the car with me, and he was talking about how we are the tough people, and how we're smarter than a lot of really high up people, and people who are in those higher up circles. Sometimes they just get passed around from job to job, whether they have the qualifications or not. But because you had the previous resume, they just pass you around. And he was like, but you and I, you know what I'm saying? He was like, we're the type of people that, we might not have come from, but we'll get there because we're smart and we work, And I was like, yeah. Anyways. So after he said that to me, I was kind of like, I'm feeling you on that, and I'm feeling this spirit within me, and I'm knowing that things are coming together. And then I started having these inclinations. I actually already recorded this episode that I wanted to talk about. And what happened is I just kind of kept getting this feeling. I recorded this episode last week, actually. And the first part of the inspiration, which I will get into, came from, from life and then seeing a couple of things. But something in my belly told me not to put that episode up, to re-record it. Wait a minute, right? And then some has taken place, and it's got me thinking that, you know what? I probably should put that episode out. I probably should. We're going to talk about it. And what I wanted to talk about are men. I am a woman who I've been molested. I have been raped. I've been abused. I've been loved. And it has colored the way that I look at men. And for a while, I mean, most of my best friends are guys, which it's so, for me, it's a little odd that I used to always say when I was younger that there was never a man in my life that I could trust, because my favorite uncle molested me. My other uncles were not around. My family didn't believe me. My stepdad is the one who actually got rid of my uncle, kicked him out of the house. But then my stepdad, when I turned into a teenager, freaked out and was like, I ain't talking to that bitch. She got titties. You know what I'm saying? I don't, of course I can laugh about it now, but when I was younger, I was like, why are you ignoring me? Why don't you like me? Oh, what's going on? What did I do to you? You know what I mean? It was very much what did I do to you? Why aren't we friends anymore? We used to bowl. We used to wrestle. You used to teach me judo. You know what I mean? We would read the Wall Street Journal. You taught me about stocks. You were fucking an awesome stepdad. What the hell happened? Why you change on me? You know what I'm saying? And, it was just something that I did not fully understand. And life, of course, took me through some lessons and made me learn some things, and girl, you know what I mean? And, of course, still learning and all of that good stuff. The thing is that my father, Master Tech Sergeant in the Air Force, retired, highest rank that you could get in the Air Force. Very proud of that man. My dad if you read it in my book, shameless plug, Manifest Beauty. Hello. Because you listen, this isn't going to be not the easiest subject to talk about. So sometimes I like to dance around the subject. You know what I mean? People often wonder about my energy, and I get asked about it all the time. And it's funny because if you think that I'm this way because my life has been easy, you are extremely wrong. The reason why I'm so happy and the reason why I have the peace that I do is because my life has not been easy. And instead of, I have always refused to be controlled. So even though I like to smoke, I ain't finna let that shit control me. I did coke once upon a time when I was, blackballed and things was like wet. And when I began to realize that I was doing such a little amount, but it was ridiculous, that when I would be with other people who were doing it, they were like, I'm sorry, but that's all you're doing. And I'd be like, yeah, man, I'm living, what? But when I saw that was, having an effect on my life and taking over, bitch, I stopped in one day, like, stop playing. Bitch was like, I'm sorry, this is doing what to me? Because I love me. So, my love for my own self and wanting to create a wonderful life and be of, I wouldn't say service, but knowing that my life was not in vain, but that knowing that people, somebody, anybody, my kids, somebody look at my damn life and be like, oh, okay, you know what? That girl did the damn thing and I'm gonna do the damn thing too. You know what I'm saying? I don't know why that's what I want, but that's what I want. You know what I mean? And, anyway, these past couple of weeks and everything happening with the full circle of the radio station that I was on, and it dawned on me that had the things not happened the way they did, I would not be in the position I'm in right now. And I mean, sure, who knows? Maybe I would be nationally syndicated by now had I stayed in radio, on FM radio in the capacity that I was in for the past 10 years. Who knows? Maybe, but I feel like myself and my outer self and my inner being knows that, bitch, we ain't trying to go to the same damn office talking about the same damn ish for 20 fucking years. Like, oh my God, that would drive me bonkers, actually. I would not want to do that. I need change. That's why it's called Random Ish with Sanja, because I don't want to talk about the same thing every day. Yeah, you know what I mean? Things began to really, get very clear to me. However, there's this area in my life that I have been working on getting more understanding. And that area of my life is men. I've had a lot of best friends, have a lot of best friends that are guys, love men. I think you guys are awesome. And that's why I'm going to say the following things that I'm going to say is because I've had men in my life that even though I couldn't trust the men that were born into my life, you know what I mean? I then chose to find men that I could trust. And so, my best friend Thomas growing up, still my best friend. We haven't seen each other in quite a few years, but we still, that's my friend. You know what I'm saying? That's my boy, And twins, Lawrence and Taiwan, shout out to Kansas. Woo woo. Kyle out here, I've always had, good guy friends, and it's because I've had the good guy friends, it enabled me. And I feel like I'm leaving somebody out right now. And I'm just like, in my back of my brain, like trying to rack, like, who the fuck am I leaving out? You know what I mean? Anyway, because I'm leaving some guys out. It is just, it's this week. It just made me realize that there are some things that we women might need to start taking into consideration. Because I will say this, I do feel like we are beating the shit out of men right now, okay? And they do deserve it, okay? All right? They do deserve it, but at the same time, we got to give them some love. Because there are just some things that I'm beginning to realize that we might be playing a part in some of this stuff that we're going through with men. And I say that because, like Tupac said, you got your life and your game from a woman, like it is what it is, right? Everybody passes through a woman to get up in this place. So something that I noticed, the episode that I recorded already, it was in reference to me having some kind of inclination that the way that us women are raising our boys into men, there are a lot of single women doing the very best that they possibly can. There are a lot of couples doing the very best that they can. And I know that we are moving into a time period where we are less gender specific, meaning that you can, however it is that you're feeling inside, you have the right to express that gender specificity, whatever that may be, because there's quite a few of them. And we've done a show before on no titles. However, in the laws of nature, there are female and male genders. And there's also asexual, okay? All right. So I do think that this is nothing to do with like heterosexuality or being homosexual. That's this really the conversation that I'm talking about has nothing to do with sexuality. I'm talking about the attributes that are assigned to females and then the attributes that are assigned to males. And that is not something I think that we should get rid of. I think that we need to have a little bit more understanding of our differences that make us beautiful, that make us work together, that continue life on this planet. I think that women can do a lot of the things that men can do. I think that men can do a lot of the things that women can do. I do think that there are some things that when men do them because of their body strength and the way that they're made, that it comes out better. And I think that there's things that women can do because of our intuition and our emotion that we could do that come out better than when a man does it. I also think that it's very important that if you're a male and you feel that you're a woman, that you should be allowed to express that. And if you're a woman if you're a man in a woman's body, you should be able to express that as well. So again, what I'm talking about is nothing to do with sexuality or even picking of the gender. What I want to talk about is men and their ability to emote and their ability to be in touch with their feelings. And women, I'm sorry, but I do think that that's what we are supposed to be teaching these clunks, I think that our job is that we are supposed to be showing these men and that we're supposed to be an example of a well of emotions. And I think that it's high time that we start teaching our men how to get in contact with these emotions and to understand the emotions that they're feeling. Now, it sounds like, they should already know, but the truth be told is that I just lost another very, very strong, powerful, highly respected man in my life. I really respected him. As a matter of fact, just a few weeks back, I was contemplating this whole thing because I'm at the same age that my father was at when he took his life. And I have been, I always want to check in with myself because I'm like, my dad was strong. He was that. I don't understand why he would do something like that, but I do know that you have to be in a mental space that you don't see any way out, and that the only way that you're going to get relief is so you think to get out of the game. I would like to inform you that there is no getting out of the game, and even when you no longer are here physical, you're still going to be here in the ethers. So I think it's high time that we start being and holding men in a different light and hold them in a light where they can start to express themselves. I do feel like men on a whole have started to change because it used to be this like really manly thing, and men don't say I love you and men don't hug each other and and everybody being all weird and homophobic. And if a man is soft, then he's a pussy. And you know what I'm saying? Like, I think that those days are done because that's such machismo, macho bullshit. That's what is killing our men, okay? Because when you guys are going through some things, you don't have anybody to talk to. Men are supposed to be hella rich and got tons of businesses and hella bitches and, you know, and if you're aggressive and you go after what you want, you're a man's man, you know, and don't shed a tear. And the only time you cry is, you know, never. But I do think that it's time for us women to start, you know, expressing and making it safe for men to express themselves. Because women, you know, we can castrate men and not even realize that we're doing it because men have been taught to be a certain way and that this is what you need to succeed and you better have this and you got to have that and you got to provide for this. And I think that's a beautiful thing. Don't get me wrong. I want a nigga who's providing for me. You know what I mean? But I think that we should start building we do need to start building men up. The reason that I'm saying this is funny because as I was having these thoughts about, and honestly, the reason that this whole thing came about is because I am actually starting to like somebody. So listen, I've been in relationships. I've told motherfuckers that I love them before. Well, actually, I don't really think that I tell them that I love them. I think I might say, like, you know, I got love for you or something like that. Like, I try to, like, you know, dance around stuff. And I've been in situations where, like, I wanted it to work. You know, there was for a while there, I was like, I'm never going to be anybody. Like, it's a wrap. It's done. I'm like damaged, you know? So it was just like, I tried to make things work with people that I knew damn good and well didn't want to be with. And the vision that I've got going on in my head of my relationship, it literally did not match. But I kind of felt like, well, maybe I'm living a pipe dream. Like what I've got going on in my head is a pipe dream. Girl, you better go on ahead and settle for this real life stuff. You know what I'm saying? But I always ended up leaving situations because I really do believe in my pipe dream. And I'm like, nah, my pipe dream coming. It coming. No. This stuff is real. And if I settle down and I'm for real with you, then that situation is not going to happen. That is honest to God how I have always felt in my relationships. I'm like, this has been fun. This is great. I really do love you. I want to be with you. You know what I'm saying? I could see a future with you, but in my heart of hearts, I'm like, I have a picture and a feeling in my heart and mind that I'm looking for, you know? And with that being said, I kind of had this thing with guys, especially because growing up around, you know, the guys, and they would tell me things about how guys are. So it was hard for me to like ever really trust a guy, you know, because I'm like, I got my guy friends in the back of my head telling me that this is how it really goes down. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of, for a long time, felt like men don't have emotions. I legit really felt like men don't have emotions. That's why they're able to rape. That's why they cheat. That's why they're so, fuck men. You know what I'm saying? I only need you for some dick and that's it. Legit how I felt. Okay. And, it wasn't until, you know, my brother, going through some things, you know, some other men going through some things, my father, you know, it began to dawn on me. I'm like, oh, you guys do have emotions, but they're so not in touch, you know. But times have changed, yo, because the times that I'm talking about, that was like 20 years ago. I would say for the past 10 years, you know, the bromance has started. Men are way more in touch with their emotions. Men are wanting to be good fathers. You know, it's been such a beautiful thing. But I do think that we are now at the next level where we women have to understand that we too have a part that we're playing in this. We are raising these men. And if when boys get hurt and we say, oh, don't cry, you know, when we say these little things to our boys who are hurt, they're hurt. Let them be hurt. Let them express that they're hurt. Sisters, I was a sister. I was mean as fuck to my brother when we got towards the teenage years. Hunty, okay? I think that sometimes doing things like that, you know, and I've profusely apologized to my brother like quite a few times, you know what I mean? I'm like, I'm sorry for being such an asshole when I was a teenager. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh my God. yeah, I was mean. I am so sorry. You know what I mean? Because I was going through some things. I had been abused and I was going through some things and I didn't know how to act. You know what I mean? And I really did not like, I liked men, but I really did not like men. And it was just a very, like, you know, very interesting time period. And it's just, like I said, it's just dawning on me because of some of the things that I'm seeing. And the men that I am meeting that I feel like, oh my God, like you are like, yo, you a man. You know what I'm saying? And what I've always noticed in those men that I admire, that I'm like, wow, they really have it all together. Their mothers were gentle with them. So that's the point of this podcast 35 minutes later. Ladies, I think that we need to be a little bit more gentle with our men. I think we need to be a little bit more gentle with our sons if we want them to have a full understanding of emotions and the emotional spectrum. I think that that might be something that we have to really start having conversations with men, because women on a whole, I think, are more emotional because we do have the maternal thing. And when you're dealing with babies, you have to deal with babies through emotion and through vibration. And so you call it women's intuition. The reality of it is it's just women reading vibration. Everybody can read vibration. Men, you can read vibration just as well as women can read vibration. You just have to be in touch with your emotions and know what it is that you're feeling. So sometimes it doesn't mean that we want you men turning into us women where, you know, we wake up crying one day and we're like, I don't know what's wrong, but it's just everything is so wrong. And, you know, women do have, like, maybe not that extreme, but emotions and hormones sometimes do play a part. I'm just saying. But it's not that I want to see men emotional. I do like the steadfastness of most men, but I do think that there are some things that men have been holding themselves to that might need to stop, because I cannot lose another man in my life over money, because the man is so used to providing. And if he's not providing for his family, then he's failing. And there's no such thing as failing. You know, we are all trying. We all have successes. We all have lessons that we learn. But there's no such thing as failing unless you completely stop and give up, you know? And I really just think that this is something that, yes, right now, women are needing to be seen as equal players in the game, in that the universe made male and female for a reason, motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Like, if it was supposed to be, if this really was a man's world, then there'd be nothing but men and y'all be doing each other in the booty. By the way, your little prostate, your little G-spot is in your booty. So if it was supposed to be just a whole bunch of men, y'all would be able to still fuck. I'm just saying, right? So there is still an in and an out, right? So if it was supposed to be just a man's world, then it would be a man's world. But it's not a man's world. It's a man and a woman's world. All right. So since it's men and women, that means men and women are equal, but you do different shit. You know what I'm saying? I do not want to play that role anymore. They try to bamboozle a bitch, and where women are trying to, I can do it all. I can do everything a man can do. Listen, bitch, I don't want to do everything a man can do. I don't want to lift that heavy ass shit. I do not want to climb on that motherfucking bridge and try to piece that shit together. I do not want to put that airplane together. I do not want to climb up that motherfucking mountain to go and rescue that person. I don't want to do that shit. There are other women who could do it. I'm not saying that women can't. Women could do whatever the hell they want to do. But there are certain things I don't want to freaking do. You know what I mean? But we as women have the right and the ability to do whatever the fuck you can do. And we probably gonna do that shit better because we work with our emotions. You know what I mean? However, men, there are some badass designers. There are some absolutely fabulous male moms, you know? So it is definitely, our genders are intertwinable. It doesn't mean that if you're a man, you have to do just this. And if you're a woman, you have to do just this. But I do think that with us having more consideration for mental health, that this needs to be about, because it's not just mental health that we need to be concerned with, but it is also a concern with how do we see our men? What are we expecting from our men? And, what are we teaching our men? Because it's kind of up to us women, So I think that might be part of the problem, is that women have been leaving for the men that have not been around. So you have women who are trying to raise their sons and trying to get them into men. But then as a woman, I would assume, I don't have a son. I have a grandson now. And I see my daughter already. We want to, of course, instill respect in a man. When women are raising sons, I don't know, but I feel like there might be a tendency to always think about every man that you've ever dealt with in your life, and that how you want to instill goodness into your son, and you want your son to treat women with respect and I'm beginning to think that maybe the way that we get men to have more respect for women is that we do need to learn a little bit from the old school, and that I think that women have to find a way to, when you're disciplining your son, we've got to find a way to be able to do it in a way that does not like crush their manhood. You know what I mean? I feel like women, when you get upset, and you're yelling at your 3-year-old son or whatever, the words that you say to him and how you speak to him are legit putting programs into him. And I mean, this is science, people. I'm not talking no fucking bullshit. The words that you are speaking to your son and the tone of voice that you are speaking to him in, and you're like he's 3 years old and you think it has no effect, you are programming that little boy. Did you guys see the video of the little boy in the car seat with the Lego in the back seat, and he was singing some shoot 'em up, I was a born shooter, and this nigga is like straight looking in the camera, mouthing the words, got his little Lego like he's shooting. And I'm like, and then his sister is in, probably like 5 or something. The little boy's like 3. And the sister's like 5, and she's like singing the song, but the parent or whoever is in the front seat is literally videotaping the little boy. And the little boy is just, going off. And I'm like, and I'm just like, how do people think that is cute? And why are we putting that up? And oh my effing God, like, yo, he's and I guess they were like, oh, because he's a born shooter. And I'm just like, I bet you that mama yell at him. I bet you his mama yells at him, smacks the shit out of him, tells him, shut the fuck up, and and all kinds of shit. And I'm just like, ladies, I'm just saying to you, you're raising men, but the way that you're raising your men is going to be a reflection on how he's going to be with women when he gets older. So if we could just remember that, and also as wives and girlfriends, when we're dealing with our men, if we could remember that they are not dealing with the same circumstances that we are. They are dealing with a completely different set of circumstances. Yes, the Me Too movement, we don't want to be, F using sexuality. I'm going to be honest with you. I've never had to use my sexuality to get anywhere that I've ever gotten, So I've been very fortunate. Now, don't get me wrong. I've had some things happen. You know what I mean? I had to quit a job, but I didn't get advanced because of, having to do anything. So I do know that, of course, we want to be seen as equals and come into the job. And I don't give a damn if I'm wearing, a dress that I look cute in or whatever. You can give me a compliment, but that shouldn't deter from our work, my work, your work, whatever. But even though we want that equal respect, I do think on the back end of that, women, we need to have an understanding that we are also playing a part in, how men are viewed in society. I know that we have always said that they've been holding us down, and yes, they had been. But since we are now correcting it, saying, hey, motherfucker, okay, you know what I'm saying? You're going to treat me equal. I think that the way that we win this war is not by fighting against them, but by us getting them to understand that you were raised wrong. Okay. The things that people were looking for as positive attributes and success were wrong. And you have been failed. You know what I mean? And if we can, the same way with the racism, I mean, for fuck's sake, we have so many things that we have got to correct. The racism bullshit, I don't know, DNA kind of shows you, dude, we're all the same species. Shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? You know how dumb you sound? You know what I'm saying? When your ass needs a kidney or if you need some fucking blood, it could be the blackest person who's a complete total match to you and saves your effing life. But if you don't want to be saved because it was black blood that went in you, then go on ahead and die. You know what I'm saying? But guess what? You ain't dying. And now you're going to be all mixed up with black, red, purple, green, all of it. So, you know, whatever. The racism stuff is stupid. The sexuality, you know, you are allowed to choose to do whoever you want to do, okay? Because there are plenty enough people on this planet that will keep the planet continuing to populate. So, you know what I mean? And women and men's relationships. Men are beginning to get more emotional. I am loving it. The beard gang, the bromances that are happening, the videos about be a dad, the dad jokes. I think that if we women, I'm beginning to really think that us women do have a responsibility for our sons, grandsons, for the future men that are coming up into this world. Now that we are having a understanding about our mental health and how mental health plays a part in your physical health and how the mental health and physical health has a part to play in our world and that we're all one and that things are all reverberating. I think the next level to move into is to have an understanding and to make sure that we are teaching our young boys and our men and our husbands how to be in touch with their emotions and to understand that emotions are temporary. And we women know this because once a month, we start going a little what the F, you know what I mean? No matter what your extreme is, some women are way more extreme than others, but we have a time in our month where we know that our emotions and our hormones are acting a little crazy. And we have to sometimes, now don't be trying to be like, oh, you acting like that because you PMSing. No, because we women have been going through it since we was teenagers and we already know how to be in control of that ish. So if we're mad at you, it's because you did something stupid and not because we're PMSing. Okay. Just want to get that clear, you know? We have had to learn how to deal with our emotions and, you know, things coming at us and, you know, not for nothing, but women bleed once a month. Women have sex and get the pussy pounded. And then we got to get up and be like, woo, that was great. You know what I'm saying? So yes, I did just make that correlation. Women have had to learn about our emotions and to deal with them and move through them. We've been had to do that, you know, and I think it's high time that we start doing that for our men. I think that the suicide rate will go down if we women be responsible in showing and teaching our sons about emotion. So when your son is disappointed because a girl didn't like him or something happened at school or somebody picked on him, listen to him. Let him express his emotions and then soothe him. Don't tell him to shut up. Don't tell him, oh, he'll be all right. Don't tell him, oh, just walk it off. Don't downplay his emotions. Listen to your sons. Let them express. Sisters. The other day I had a brother and sister in the car. And again, this is one of the reasons why I was like, maybe I shouldn't talk about this. But when I had this dad get in the car and the daughter was about 9 and the son was about like 6 or whatnot. And it reminded me again of me and my brother, but they got in the car and, you know, the sister was kind of like going off on the brother. You know what I'm saying? And he was like, you know, he was like responding back and he was like, I just want to punch you in the face. You know what I'm saying? and she was like, well, I'm going to, you know, she was like, yeah, I'll fuck you up, basically. And I started laughing and then the dad was like, what? And I was like, this is really funny. I said, because I was thinking about doing a podcast about how us women are with men and how us sisters treat our little brothers and how sometimes single moms treat their sons when, you know, they're upset with them and they have to discipline them and, you know, and I think that sometimes we might be a little too rough on these guys and we are not helping our issues with, the male-female relations, because when men are little, we're kind of like, you know what I mean? And it was funny. And then I was like, and I do feel like, the same thing happens with women, is that, the man is a disciplinarian and he's such a hard ass that when he's dealing with his daughters, sometimes I really feel that men have been changing. Like it's not the same anymore because of conversations like this. I do feel that women have a tendency to be way more hard with males, and I think that we might need to soften up a little bit. And hearing the way that the sister was talking to the brother, I was like, well, damn, and I'm just like, well, how is it that women expect men to know how to act or to even have their ish together if they've been berated all their effing life? You know what I'm saying? And, just feel like women just beat them up. You know what I mean? That women, you can love a woman, you know what I'm saying? But she's just going to nag you and you know what I'm saying? Like type of a thing. You know what I mean? So it just, and so I started talking to the dad and he was like, yeah, he was like, actually, that is very true. And it was funny because I could tell that the sister kind of heard, because then she kind of started being a little bit nicer to her brother. And then he was like, yeah, I have actually thought about that a lot as far as my daughter is concerned, because I don't want her to date me. You know what I mean? And I was like, well, that's really good. That's amazing that, that you're having that insight now, and that you're trying to make sure that your daughter does not date you, but actually grows up healthy and chooses a man that she likes. But again, I think that we also need to include that with our sons. So, men, I just wanted to say thank you. I just wanted to say, I hear you. I love y'all. And I believe that with a little bit of time, you guys have already been doing the work. I think with a little bit of love and a couple of more females that have sons and will speak up and realize that the way that we get to this equality is not by beating these men over the head, but by starting with the newer generations, making sure that they understand their emotions, making sure that they know how to cope with their emotions. And the men that are still here, us giving them a chance to understand that the things that they've done is wrong. I think with the Me Too movement, it is a great thing that is going on, but we do have to understand that we have a culture that has been this way for a very, very long time. And even though we want men to be held accountable for their actions, we do have to take into consideration that stuff has been going on for a very, very long time. And we need understanding, like to just punish people and take their careers away is not teaching anybody anything. These are very teachable moments that we are living in right now. And I definitely think that that's what we need to be doing, because we cannot have life without males and females. You can choose to be whatever gender you want. You can have whatever sexuality you want. But the truth is we need males and females to keep procreating. So with that being said, I would love to see this world moving into an even more healthy place where men are allowed to express themselves. And if a man feels sad, he can fucking cry without anybody saying shit. I'm just saying, when we get to that point in place and time, I really think we're going to have a lot less men taking their own lives behind money, behind feeling like they're failing, behind shame. It's really unfortunate, because these men don't feel like they have anybody that they can turn to, because the way our society is that we have made them feel that they would be ashamed for failing. And so women, I think that is our responsibility, respect, to love our sons and to show them that being emotional and being in touch with your emotions and being able to cope with your emotions and being able to self-soothe yourself without the drugs, without everything else. Not that you can't do drugs, but to self-soothe is better than self-medicating, because everyone needs to self-soothe. You only self-medicate when you cannot self-soothe. So women, I do think that since we are way more in contact with our emotions, we are more in contact with intuition, I think it's high time that we step up and start taking some responsibility for some of the way that these crazy ass men are acting. No, it's not all our fault. Hell to the F no. You know what I'm saying? Hell, girl. You know what I'm saying? Women's rights, all of that ish, abortion, Planned Parenthood. Listen, we have plenty of things that I could go off on about men and their stupidity. But I do think that it's time for us to start talking about the solutions instead of continuing to talk about the problems. And the solution, one of the solutions, is that we women have an understanding that we are, in fact, having an impact on the men, and that we should start taking some responsibility, and that we should be a little bit more emotional and start showing these men how to self-soothe. Because women, we got that shit down. Girl. Because when your stomach is cramping and you like, oh, Lord, I done took 5 Advil and the shit ain't stopping yet. We come up with ways to make ourselves feel better. You know what I'm saying? Women are tough. Women are way, way, way tough. Women take a beating. Women get cussed at. Women have been held down, and we still go. So, men, I'm just saying, we don't want you to be like us, but you damn sure could learn some real lessons from us. We love you.
This is Sanja.
Yo, check it out. It's my girl Sanja.
Oh, yeah.
Yo, what up, Sanja?